Come close to me. Are you studying in the school? Okay. Tell me.
Like I want to ask a question about in al-Mursala. Like, why did Allah repeat this ayah? وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ 10 times in the surah? Allah is the God, so He must know everything. So it must be something genius, and I'm trying to figure out what it is.
MashaAllah.
I want to ask you that question.
Your English is very good, MashaAllah. Okay, sit down. Anytime Allah repeats an ayah several times, the implication is that there is something extremely important here. Here he is repeated Wailul lil Mukazzibin several times, indicating there is something very important here. But I want to take you to the mother of all. Which one? Surah Ar-Rahman. And in Surah Ar-Rahman it is فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. How many times? 31. When lil-mukazzibin is only maybe 5 or 6 times, I don't know how many times. But this one is 31 times. Is this by accident? No, it's not by accident. Allah is knocking on your mind, on your heart 31 times, telling you there is something tremendously important in this surah, and you will not discover it without thinking. This is not muhkamat, something that is plain and clear. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم. You don't have to think, you know. It is Ramadan, you have to fast, puasa. But here in Surah Ar-Rahman, you got to think. Which book is it? Oh, here, this one. This one, the Great War, the Malhama or Armageddon, which is coming. The Quran, the Great War in the West. In this book, I've given you a taste of what is there in Surah Ar-Rahman. Why has Allah repeated فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا so many times? Any more questions? No more questions? Are you a student in the school?
No, I'm not.
No, okay.
I have
you go and sit, Papa, go and sit.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Right.
So my question is regarding one of the signs of the end of times, that is Yajuj and Majuj and the Dajjal. So when we hear those words, we imagine like a physical threat that will overwhelm the world. So is it possible that Yajuj and Majuj and the Dajjal, instead of a physical threat, is actually an ideological threat? So when we read about them in the Hadith or in the Quran, they're actually referred to metaphorically, not physically. Okay.
I wish I could speak Bahasa the way he speaks English. MashaAllah, very good command of the English language, MashaAllah. But make sure you learn your Bahasa. You must know your Bahasa as well as you know your English. This is your native language. I'm going to Mombasa now. First I go to Bangkok for a few days and I go to Mombasa. And in Kenya, the most famous writer in Kenya, he's a few years older than me. He graduated in Britain, and he's the most famous writer all over Kenya. And he took a decision late in life. He's going to write only in his native language. He stopped writing in English. So don't betray your native language. Okay? Now then, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, about Dajjal, that he is al-Masih al-Dajjal. Are you listening to me? Yeah. He is al-Masih al-Dajjal, meaning he is Dajjal who will one day say, Ana al-Masih, I am the Messiah. But that would be a lie. The Messiah is Nabi Isa alayhi salam. So he is an impostor. As an impostor, he has to appear as a human being. Why? Because the Messiah is a human being. The Messiah was a Jew, Nabi Isa alayhi salam. So Dajjal will have to appear as a human being. Our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said he would be a Jew. He would be a young man. He would be powerfully built. He'd have curls at the side that the Orthodox Jews have. However, the Quran refers to a shadow in Surah Al-Mursalat, a shadow that will overcome the world. And the shadow will appear in 3 stages. You cannot have a shadow without the sunshine. And when you talk about the sunshine, you're talking about a period of time before the end of the world. So this is not a shadow after Qiyamah, this is a shadow in this world. Are you with me? And the shadow appears in 3 stages, so it means after the third stage is finished, the shadow will disappear. And the one who is creating the shadow will appear. So Dajjal will first appear as a shadow in the world. And that's what he's talking about as an ideological system and so on. On Monday, inshallah, at the UIA, the International Islamic University, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Faculty of Economics, Ibn Taymiyyah Hall, the Ibn Taymiyyah Hall at the Faculty of Economics at UIA, I have to speak on an Islamic eschatological explanation of modern Western civilization. They chose the topic, the university, not me. And so, there is a shadow which will appear in the world, Dajjal, and that shadow will pass through 3 stages, and at the end of the 3rd stage, Dajjal will appear himself in person. But I need half an hour to explain to you the 3 stages before we come to the person himself. We don't have that time. Any more questions? Yes? But you have my book, Jerusalem in the Quran. One second. Please read Jerusalem in the Quran. Read this one, the Quran, Dajjal and the Jasad. And there's another one at the back entitled Dajjal, the Quran and Awwalul Zaman. This is Jerusalem in the Quran. This was written 20 years ago. Dajjal, the Quran and Awwalul Zaman. And you can read it in English because your English is good. For those whose English is weak, this is it. Dajjal, the Quran and Awwalul Zaman. This is my first book on Dajjal, but we have it also in Bahasa. But I noticed the Malay prefer to read the English book than the Bahasa book. Go ahead.
I'm not an expert in Akhir Zaman, so I'd just like to know, China is a geopolitical force now. So I'd like to know your input with regard to the subject Akhir Zaman. Where does China fit in this?
Can you give me 1 hour?
Subversion test, inshallah.
No, I can't handle this. This is a very important subject. I would suggest to you, where is it? Yeah, this one. I would suggest to you this one. Constantinople in the Quran. Okay? And it is not just the emergence of China. I met with one of the deputy ministers of government in Malaysia a few days ago, and he's a political scientist, and he was startled. He was puzzled when I said to him, from my Islamic eschatological perspective, that the most important event which has occurred in world history since the emergence of modern Western civilization is the present alliance between a nuclear Russia, which is a superpower, and a nuclear China, which is a superpower, and which has stopped the modern West in the tracks. If this alliance had not been established, they would already have invaded Venezuela. They've been, excuse my language, they've been barking about Venezuela. They've used every single evil plan they could use against Venezuela, but they dare not intervene militarily. No. If there was not this alliance between China and Russia, they would attack Iran already. Iran shot down an American drone. And what have they done? Barking, they dare not attack Iran. Have they attacked Korea as yet? A strange thing has happened now in the world, and that is that modern Western civilization has been checked in their stuff. Checked. They cannot be rampaging over the world as they've been doing for the last few hundred years. That is gone. And what is it which has checked them? It is the alliance between Russia and China. Any more questions, or shall we perform Salat? One more question, okay? Agreed? Fine, one more question.
Sorry, teacher. My question is similar as the one before. I'd like to ask, would you be able to elaborate further in terms of the three stages where Dajjal appeared? There are three shadows, right? Is there any guidance in the Quran or in the Sunnah or Hadith that quantify the period of time in those three phases of appearing?
Yeah, this book was written 20 years ago. And the cover of this book was designed by a Malay artist. You see three circles there? The three circles are the three stages. And I have explained the three stages of Dajjal 20 years ago. That in the first stage, which the Prophet ﷺ described in Sahih Bukhari, that a whole year will pass like a day. And in the second stage, a whole month will pass like a day. And in the third stage, a whole week will pass like a day. Yawmun ka sana, Yawmun ka shahr, Yawmun ka jum'ah. And then after that, the shadow disappears. The shadow disappears. وَسَائِرُ أَيَّامِهِ كَأَيَّامِكُمْ. And all his days like your days. So we'll now be in your world of space and time. No more shadow. He'll appear as a human being. I said, this is what I will explain at UIA. The Dajjal is the one who corrupted part of the Christian world in Constantinople. Read this book. And that part which was corrupted by Dajjal left Constantinople and went to Rome. And that's how Western Christianity came into being. Western Christianity then made an alliance with Jews, the Judeo-Christian alliance. And it is this alliance which gave to the world modern Western secular civilization. And in modern Western secular civilization, the three stages of the shadow appeared, with three ruling states. The first was Britain and Pax Britannica. The second was the United States of America and Pax Americana. And the third, in my opinion, will be Israel and Pax Judaica. This is 20 years ago. For reasons I cannot explain, but it breaks my heart, really, that the world of Islamic scholarship, your Maulanas, your Muftis, your Shuyukh, they have chosen to ignore me and ignore this book. Yes.
Sheikh, if I may add, my question was not finished. If say that Dajjal will only appear only after the three stages ended, and then how is it possible that Tamim would have met, encountered with Dajjal in the island of Jasasa?
You have the time to answer? Don't blame me, eh? Don't blame me. Good. The Prophet said, Tamim al-Dari has come to me and told me something about Dajjal, which confirms what I have been saying to you. And then he narrated what Tamim al-Dari said to him. That Tamim al-Dari and some 40 of his companions went on board a ship, and the storm came and blew the ship for a whole month, until they came to an island. Don't ask me how they knew it was an island, ask them. When they got on shore, they were confronted by this hairy beast, Jasasa, who said to them, there's someone waiting to see you, that monastery which was lying in ruins. And they went there and they met Dajjal. They're seeing Dajjal as a human being. And they saw him in chains, with his hands chained to his neck, and with his feet chained together. He asked them several questions and they responded. And then he said to them, I am Dajjal, Ana al-Masih. No, he didn't say I am Dajjal. He said, Ana al-Masih, I am the Messiah. And when I am released, I'll enter every town and every city, but he didn't mention Kampung. Now then, the Prophet went on to say that when he is released, he will live on earth for 40 days. One day like a year, one day like a month, one day like a week, and all the rest of his days like your days. When his day is like our day, he will be in our world of space and time. But prior to this, he would not be in our world of space and time. He will be in a world where one day like a year, one day like a month, one day like a week. Only when his day is like our day, he will be in our world of space and time. Only then we'll be able to see him as a human being, shake hands with him, At that time he cannot be in chains, can he? Can he? No, he was released. And he had to pass through the stage of a day like a year. And then he had to pass through the stage of like a day like a month. And then a day like a week before he came into our world, so he couldn't be in chains. So it is impossible to see Dajjal as a human being and also see him in chains. Would you kindly put on your thinking cap? So then how come Tamim al-Dari saw him as a human being and yet saw him in chains? Answer me. Huh? A dream. Anybody else? He says a dream. Not bad. A vision is better. I agree with that. They traveled all the way from Bombay to come last night to the lecture. All the way from Bombay. MashaAllah. I prefer the answer of a vision to a dream, yeah. Dajjal cannot be seen in human form and yet be seen in chains. And so Tamim al-Dari, in our opinion, had a vision of Dajjal, and he conveyed it to the Prophet ﷺ. And this is what the Prophet conveyed to us. Thank you very much. At the end of the Salat, those of you who want to get my books, you can bring them to me for autographing, inshallah. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.